If you follow TVs, then you know that the U8H is a beast of the television. Coming in at a very economical price, the performance superseded what you was to expect. Mini LED, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, it had all the goodies that we wanted to see in a television. But the question is, did this technology stand a test of time? So today, we're going to compare the U8H against the newer U8K. Starting off, both TVs are 8-bit panels with frame rate control, both on mini LED, and they do support 120 Hz native. On the newer U8K, they almost doubled the local dimming zones for better contrast. And I will tell you, when it comes to just picture quality, I feel that the U8K definitely had some improvements. The biggest things that I noticed is that the TV looks more natural. So looking at this water, you can see that it actually looks blue, and the sky does as well. And I definitely see the difference in the separation of colors over the U8H when I look through different scenes. But just right out of the box, using the factory setting, it did appear that the U8H is just a tad bit sharper when it comes to the image, but you can adjust that inside of the menu of the U8K. Next, I want to show you guys the different processors in both televisions, and you can see that the U8K is now available in an 85-inch. But I want to point out that the U8H uses a VA panel for the 75, and the new U8K uses a IPS ADS panel. So here's YouTube TV, and the things that I can really notice is that the court that these girls are running on is very red, and you can see just the tone of the runners themselves, just completely different. So I feel that the U8K is a huge improvement over the U7K so far, just looking at the SDR content. Now switching over to Disney Plus, this is very interesting, because I find that some scenes look better on the U8H and other scenes looks better on the U8K. But I do notice that the U8K is not crushing all the black levels, especially in some of these scenes. But here, the U8H just has better tones in the light. So this is very confusing why each TV performs different ways. Now with both TVs in theater mode, I switched over to HDR/SDR content. And the interesting thing to me is that the U8H actually has a much sharper picture. Plus, I can see more brightness coming through, even though these TVs are the exact same nits. So again, this is a confusing test to look at these TVs side by side. Now, even though the U8H does have a great picture, I couldn't help but notice that there was some banding happening as I was loading up my PS5, and I want to record it for you guys. So they did fix that issue on the U8K, so that should play a role in making a decision, in my opinion. Next, I want to show you guys a contrast test, and as you can see, the U8K is definitely picking up a larger range of tones. And both of these TVs do have some minor dirty screen effect, but the U8K is definitely doing a much better job. I also want to check out the blooming, and both TVs have a little bit of blooming, but it all depends on the graphics and how bright they are, if you're going to notice it or not. Both of these TVs do have a motion rate of 480, and to me, they look about the same when it comes to that. But I did notice that the U8K definitely has better colors when it comes to 8-bit, 10-bit artifact test. It just looks a lot smoother in comparison. And just in case you wonder, here's the viewing angles. And since they're VA panels, they're going to look best if you stand in front of them. But if you get off to the side a little bit, you will lose a little bit of colors, but it makes up for it by giving you those inky contrast levels. So in my opinion, I think the U8K is definitely an improvement over the U8H when it comes to picture quality. But if you have bought the U8H, it's still a great television, so don't feel compelled to go sell it and lose money and upgrade, because if you're happy right now, stay happy. When it comes to the rear panel, both of these TVs have the exact same connections. The only thing that changed on the back of the television is now the HDMI 2.1 on the U8K will support up to 144 Hz, where previously it was up to 120 Hz. Now I'm going to let you guys hear the audio system, and one thing to point out here is that the U8H has 3 speakers. There's 2 on the bottom and a subwoofer on the back. Now the U8K has 5 speakers, so you have 2 on the bottom, 2 on the sides that creates more like a surround sound, and you have a subwoofer. But let's take a listen and see if you can tell a difference even with your smartphone if you're watching on one. So inside of here, we have your different sound modes, and you can see that they have standard, theater, sports, music, speech. But one thing they added to the U8K is that now you have intelligent sound, which adjusts itself automatically according to the content that you're watching. Now we do have Dolby Atmos. You can control the subwoofer on the back. And then over here we have auto acoustic tuning. But if you go into the advanced settings on the U8H, you'll see it right there as well. And this feature allows you to set up the room based off the microphone and your remote control to get the best audio. All right, next we're gonna just do a little gaming. I'm just gonna drive this car. And if you look at the skies, the U8K is definitely a lot more details in it. The car has a little bit better blue colors on it. So I'm just gonna drive a little crazy here just to mess around. But what do you guys think? Is the U8K showing better colors or the U8H? Now, next thing I want to show you guys is the gaming zone. So this is basically the U8K has this new gaming zone, and this is going to allow you to do your frames per second, HDR. You can see VRR is turned on. Plus, if you want to, you can toggle this little switch and see the frames right there in the corner, and that's great for gaming. You have dark details, as you can see right there, it gets a little darker. And you have Freesync right there that you can turn off and on. There's also what they call high refresh rate mode. So if you're not using VRR, you can actually get a faster gaming experience out of some of the older games. Now, when it comes to the U8H, they have this gaming information bar that popped up on the screen just now. You can change the location of it. And then if you go into the settings of it, you can change the black levels, white levels, your auto response time to automatic or on, whatever you like. And it does have FreeSync as well. So these are two different menu systems, and I'm not sure if the U8H will get this new system in the future. On both TVs, you can add multiple accounts. All you need to do is just sign into your Gmail account. Both TVs are snappy, getting through all the different menus, as you can see right there. I don't see any kind of lag or anything like that on either TV. Both of them supports the Google TV streaming, and both TVs have ATSC 3.0 TV tuners. Now, Google has an app store that you guys can look for, and both TVs have exactly the same applications, and there's plenty enough for just about any kind of app you can think of. Now, when you're not using your TV, both TVs have ambient mode where you can have these little shortcuts at the bottom, which is pretty cool. And I also want to point out that the U8K has Android 12 and the U8H has Android 11. And you see it hasn't been an update since October on the U8H. Now, there's a huge improvement on the storage. As you can see, on the U8K it has 19 gigabytes and the U8H has 6.5 gigabytes. So you can definitely add more applications into the new model. You can cast your phone on both TVs with an Android device or computers. Both TVs supports Apple AirPlay and Apple HomeKit. Now, I showed on my unboxing video, but the U8K has this camera smart function where you can add a camera on there and add different gestures to pause, play your content, mute it, and turn the TV off. Also, let you guys know that both TVs can be hooked up with Amazon Alexa. And as you can see on here, this is something a little bit newer compared to the previous model as far as the software. So my final verdict about these two TVs is that if it comes in at a good price when it's released, I'll definitely go with the U8K. It just performs much better as far as the processing, the contrast. It's also showing better shadow details, and it has a better audio system. Another thing I'll tell you guys about these TVs that both of them comes with the same remote control, except for now you have a menu button on the U8K, and it does have a backlight on both units. With that being said, right now I had a goal of hitting 200,000 subscribers by the end of 2023. As of right now, we're at 163,000. So if you guys haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now so you'll be notified of my next video, because I have some good stuff. Trust me, some good stuff coming your way. I'm Tech Steve. Thanks a lot for watching. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.